Hey David, welcome to the stream. Hey, Em, welcome. As I mentioned in my response, I'll talk about the numbers for Corlon's Grace versus unarmed attacks on the monk when we get into the live stream on Saturday. Sorry everyone if I'm not paying as close attention to chat as normal. I'm reading up on the new 5e rules update, so just taking in some stuff here while I'm trying to monitor chat as best I can, so I apologize if I missed something. Wow, they made a lot of changes to 5e here. Character creations actually brought a little more in line with actually what Baldur's Gate 3 does. In certain ways with character creation. I mean, they're not specifically saying that, of course. I think the game was probably built around some of the playtesting stuff that Wizards of the Coast had been doing. We've seen changes to ability scores and how they were placed ever since Tasha's Cauldron of Everything in 2020. And then we still saw at the beginning of Baldur's Gate 3 here during early access where the ability score improvements were species-based, or what the old term race-based used to be. And then they went away from that during the full release of the game. So we saw them being more in line with that, but we're also seeing a new change in 5e with how backstories play in, or character backgrounds. And how those can affect ability score improvements, which is actually really cool. Yeah, the new handbook doesn't release until near the end of the year, I think. I'd have to go look at the exact date, but I think it's sometime October or something like that. But there have been a lot of reports coming out here because of the new videos that are being released about the new player's handbook. I'm just reading through some of them. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where there have been the playtests have been happening, and they happen quite regularly. That's nothing new from Wizards of the Coast. But I think there was probably some input here from Wizards of the Coast to Larian about how things were going to be changing, or what needed, or what was going to be unlocked, and that sort of stuff. It wasn't a decision in the dark, so to speak, on Larian's part to uncouple species-based ability score improvements. Because now in the new one, your background determines which abilities, or which abilities you're going to be able to put your up to 3 ability improvements in. That's something different in Baldur's Gate 3, is that you're locked into +2 and +1. Whereas now it's going to be, you have 3 points. You can double up +2 and +1, but you could also put +1 into each of the 3 different ones that your background now allows. So for instance, like the Acolyte background allows you to put a +1 in Charisma, Intelligence, and or Wisdom. So you could put 2 into any of them. You could put 1 into each of them. It's up to you, but it's based upon your background. So you can't just put them wherever you want, based upon nothing. Because, yeah, the background system in 5e was always a little bit kind of extra added on at the end. It had some bonuses in it, but it was always, during character creation, it was always near the very end of things. And it is in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. It's at the bottom of the character creation list. This bumps that up. It's now like the 2nd thing in line, I think, or the 3rd thing in line of character creation. So yeah, I think they've taken that exact option, and here it looks like they're giving you more options, because the backgrounds, like I say, used to be locked in. They locked in a set of ability score bonuses in the past, and now they've just unlocked it so that you can put those in any of a group of ability scores that go along with that background. So good to see that they're doing that. It always opens up more role-playing aspects when you could do stuff like that. So, all right, we'll get ready to get started here. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream. Episode number 48 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. Nothing new on admin notes, so on our recap, last week was a momentous episode in that we completed the takedown of Gortash and picked up his Netherstone. And that's triggered a couple of things for us. And then we started doing some more exploration around the lower city, which we skipped a lot of that on our way to fast-tracking Gortash so that we could complete all of that section of the main quest line, because we had angered all of Worm's Crossing previously. So we spent a few episodes taking out the Steelwatch Foundry, rescuing captives from the Iron Throne, and then finally came back and took out Gortash. And now we're ready to kind of progress through all of the side content inside the lower city. We don't have to progress the Orin storyline for a bit now, so we can go back and take care of a bunch of the stuff that we neglected during that time. And that's what we're going to do when we jump back in here, because we had ended last week's episode after a fight inside of the cemetery, and there is one more fight that we need to have here in the above ground cemetery, and then we're going to venture into the mausoleums down below and do some exploration and a little combat down there as well. So here we are. We have off stream, I've gone through and picked up all of the stuff that was down here. And these are the remains of all of the kobolds that we killed during the ambush last week. So what we're going to do is we're going to head down here to Nina.
If not over.
Brighten up a loved one's grave with a bouquet, freshly picked.
And we're going to have our next set of combat here. And to do this...
One more time. Come on.
We're going to bring up Spirit Guardians, and then we're going to immediately go into conversation with Nina with Shadowheart. And we'll upcast this to level 4.
Keep a lookout. The Mortarch don't take kindly to raising the dead, but I won't be long, I promise. My big brother, Garrett. He got killed by that murderer guy, but I'm gonna fix him. Now, keep watch.
Exorde me, Merkel. Resuscita frater meum. Immorte ad me redigo eo.
The air crackles with power before fizzing out. The child has power but lacks control.
Oh, you're close, Merkel. I can feel your shadow. Give my brother back, please.
Okay, so we can give a scroll here, and I can't remember which scroll this is. Or we can attempt to make an Arcana check here to do it.
Really? I'm gonna try it right now.
Okay, and this is going to bring us into combat here. And I just wanted to make sure that Shadowheart Spirit Guardians were out to begin with, depending upon her initiative roll. Because you can get incapacitated here during this fight, and this would have allowed me a place of refuge to go, so to speak, if things got out of hand.
To me.
So for her, I'm just going to move around a little bit. Don't really care about the attacks of opportunity. It would be nice to remove all of the smaller targets off the battlefield here if I can. Okay.
Can't even catch my breath.
All right, so for my bard here, what do we have? 4. And that will remove this greater zombie for a while. He's going to have to dash to get back up here, I believe. Now, I believe all of them are... Oh, they do not have resistance. Okay, yeah, the zombies do, but the Death Shepherd does not.
No holding back.
Well, I will definitely reapply Hex on Garrett. There's a crit on Garrett. Okay. Perfect. Has to dash to get back up here. And now, hopefully, I can finish these two off here. Alright, perfect. Can I get over here? I can.
Light on my feet.
Paladin, so strong. Okay, so Will has some space here.
Easy enough.
Most of the smaller enemies aren't going to have
Let flowers say rough words never.
things really worthwhile, but go search them anyway. And then Garrett's going to have a set of plate armor, which is always good to sell.
Flowers, every
Okay,
color of
so
the rainbow.
remember during last week's episode, we picked up a couple of keys. So we have the Gorion Mausoleum key, and the Gorion Mausoleum is here. Then I believe... Yes, we also have the Hhune Mausoleum key as well. And the Hhune Mausoleum is here.
Moving in.
Okay, so we're going to start with this one.
Best avoid that trap.
Okay, so we passed the perception check here once we came in. I'm definitely going to need to swap out for these. And I will... I need to put on the Ring of the Shapeshifter first. Starting off with a nat 20, chat. That is never any good.
My faith protects me.
Okay. She has the perception check shield here. Hey, wow. Rolled a 2. Okay, thank you.
Looking ahead. What's next? These things have stayed interesting. Step carefully.
Okay, so there's the second tripwire, and we found the plate here. Yeah, good for you guys, David. Get to see the punishment that's going to come after that in that 20. Okay, so we'll make our way over here.
Be wary.
Okay,
This
so
place
there
is
we
trapped.
found it. And now we're going to make sure we're going to come around this side while guidance is still active. And we failed it. We rolled a 15. We rolled a 1 on Mark of the Shifter and a 1 on guidance. To fail it. Okay. So we're going to bring Mark of the Shifter on
There's no time to
Shadowheart
waste.
as well, because we're going to need it for this roll.
That's
Okay,
curious.
so there we found the cracked tile. We found the trap on the wall, not too worried about that.
Best avoid that trap.
Found that trap on the wall, so we found all the traps on the walls, but we've disarmed everything now. Okay.
Need to keep going.
So now I'm gonna put everything back. The way it was here. I believe Shadowheart had the Iron Banded shield. Yes.
Still alive, so that's progress.
Okay, so let's first go over here and take a look at the cracked tile. So the cracked tile has an iron key in it. We're going to see the use of that here in a little bit. There's some gold we can pick up.
Moving ahead.
Okay, so we'll just do a little more searching here. Okay. And then here we have this plate here. Okay. Now, the sarcophagus, okay, requires a DC 15 strength check. Okay. So we do not have to pass this, though. We did. Okay, so here is the golden key. Okay, so we found the iron key. Now we have the golden key. There's another shield +1 in here. And then there's a note. Kneel with the weight of all you value at his feet, and he will reveal himself. Okay, and then there's a skeleton. Now, with all of these, you can drag the skeletons out, and you can search them. Okay, but what happens with that note pertains to this plate here. Now, you need to have a certain weight of items on you to be able to trigger that plate, because it said kneel with the weight of all that you value on it. And that weight here is 350 kilos or 700 pounds, depending on which units you're in, of encumbrance. So here I have 98, 144, 74 and a half, and
Defender of the people.
53. So I have 369.9 kilos. So I'll be able to trigger this without
Keeping pace.
bringing in anything else.
Still breathing.
I'm just going to bring
Spot
everybody
everything.
over, and we're
Never
just
wanted
going to
the
all
easy
stand
path.
on a corner.
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
Sharp as ever.
This way.
And you heard it click. And that click is going to open this
Is
back
that
here.
blood? No, never mind.
My faith will guide me.
Time for a boost.
No time to rest.
Okay, so I'm going to make my way in here, and it's been a while since I've been through these, so I'm just making sure that there are no traps anywhere or anything like that, and there are not. So we have a heavy chest and a gilded chest in here. We also have some gold laying around. And there's a journal. So the Baldur here in the Emperor form was brought in and introduced to people as a member during this journal entry to the Knights of the Shield. So this, you learn about his entrance into that group. And then obviously a bunch of other stuff down here that we can end up picking up and selling off. And a scroll of charm person, always nice. So now the two chests here. So the first is the heavy chest. You click on it. That uses the iron key. And we're going to get some pale orange dye and some gold. And then the gilded chest uses the gold key. Okay. So oil of diminution, elixir of gal movement, some other stuff out of here. Overall, some fairly meh things out of this. And then down here we have a wall. Okay. And this wall leads you into the next door mausoleum. Now this is the Gorion Mausoleum over here. And this one, again, is not a problem to go look at. You don't need any preparatory work for it.
Allow me.
Never a dull moment.
Okay, none of the bases are going to have anything in them. So again, gold here. Some books, some other things that you can pick up.
Here lies Lord Gregorian Gorion, first High Constable of Baldur's Gate, the city's protector.
Okay, so you learn about who this is here.
Always room for more.
Don't go through that hole if you value your life. So next we again have a sarcophagus to open up. And again, this is going to take a strength check for us to do this. I'm going to bring everybody in here, and I believe it's Shadowheart. Yes. So we can take Shadowheart, I guess, and reapply Mark of the Shifter. Okay, this is going to give us a strength check. We have bonuses of 5 to 11 here. Didn't even need it. And why do I remove it? There's no reason why I remove it or don't remove it. I tend to not walk around with my characters like this, especially when I have two of them that are the same. But there's no particular reason why I do it. It's just more of an RP thing for me. If I don't think I'm going to need it, then I don't
Still
utilize
breathing,
it.
despite everything.
Okay, so now we are going to re-equip everything. Now I've got to remember what I would, the Surgeon Subjugation Amulet, there it is. Okay, because we're going to be getting into a fight here in a second, and we're not going to go through the hole here to do it. We have one more mausoleum to go look at, and that is the Durinbold Museum. Now, that one you need to be a little prepared for, in that you don't want to just walk in there by yourself or unawares. And if you shapeshift and go through this hole here, you can find yourself trapped in there in combat, and without a set of reinforcements that are available to you. So you want to take your time a little bit in going through through this next one, and that's what we're going to do. Now that we've
Never wanted
explored
the
both
easy
of
path.
these, we can make our way back out. Okay, and then we came out of the Gorion Mausoleum now. The Durinbold Mausoleum's over here. And this is the last one. And like I say, you don't want to enter in here by yourself. You want to make sure that you're entering into the mausoleum with your party here. And I forgot
Right tool
that
will
I
do the
don't
trick.
have the key for this. Shouldn't need it though. I just jinxed it probably. Okay, so here we are inside the Durinbold Mausoleum. Now, you can prepare for this combat a little bit better. And you can see the entrance way here that got opened up for us. But what's going to trigger this?
Better be cautious. On my way.
Is a couple of things. There's the hole that you come in. And then here on this table is a scroll of animal friendship. If you try and either open any of the sarcophagi, or you try and take something here from this, you are going to trigger the residents here of the mausoleum to spawn. And this can be a difficult fight.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Like I say, if you are unprepared for it. At our level, I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about.
Strength in silence.
Ready. Unseen.
Waiting with bated breath.
Okay, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to grab the scroll here. This is probably going to bring everybody into combat because I rolled poorly on initiative. Okay. So yeah, I rolled poorly on initiative here. I was hoping to roll better than that. The Houndmaster is almost always going to get initiative on you because he's got a +5 to his dexterity check. So that goes on to his initiative as well. The Houndmaster, again, has dark vision. That doesn't help him. All of the hounds have dark vision, but again, that doesn't necessarily help them. So we are going to start our fight here. And I was hoping I'd be able to cast darkness and then bring everybody out and get a free round of attacks, but I'm not going to be able to do that here because this one Rocky rolled before I did. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that I've moved out a little ways here. And you can look at their resistances. So immune to cold, immune to necrotic, so Hex isn't going to do any good. Immune to poison, but they are not immune to radiant, they are not immune to force, and they're not resistant to either one of those as well. Now, the Houndmaster basically has the Sharpshooter perk. They're able to make crossbow attacks from point blank. They're going to inflict gaping wounds for twice as long. They also have some other benefits here, and that is that his proficiency bonus is added to the armor class and damage rolls of the hunting dogs. Okay, now at level 10, it doesn't show, but at level 10 it actually will show. On this missed attack. His proficiency bonus is +4. So what that means is that his hunting dogs have a bonus to their damage rolls and their armor class based upon that proficiency. And that's what makes them a lot harder to hit. And when they hit you, they hit a lot harder. So you want to, if you can here, focus Houndmaster Pole to be able to remove that buff that he's giving to his hounds. And I want to look at something first. Why is she blinded? Because I forgot to remove the helm. Good job. Yep.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
I want them to go after my bard. Hopefully. I'll take that.
Two steps at a time.
Rolled a crit. Go after my bard again. Okay, and then my paladin. Let's move him to the edge of the darkness first. And then move the minimum amount to make the attack. Didn't need that. Or that. What, 1 hit point left? Seriously? And that's why you want to be in darkness. Jeez, they hit so hard. Because of Grave Shot. Now, we saw him miss with it the first time. But Grave Shot is a necrotic-based weapon action that he can use every turn. He can also spend Predator Essence to empower the shot. Now, Predator Essence is every time that he hits with it. If he spends a Predator Essence, he's going to deal 4 to 40 necrotic damage, and he's going to heal 4 to 40 hit points. So he only attacks with a crossbow. So he can very quickly get his hit points back if you're allowing him to hit you with that crossbow. The best way to keep him from hitting with the crossbow is by fighting in darkness, because Grave Shot or any other attack does not land inside of it. I'd like to be able to use a minimum number on them. Okay, so I did get the kill.
Can't give up.
Let's move just out of the darkness here. Actually, I'd prefer not to do that. Let's see if I can move here. Yeah, I can't throw it past the darkness. And if I hit here, it's going to hit me. Okay, so the Gordis used loyal furry friend. So he mourns the Houndmaster's death and joins him in the afterlife. Okay, this is the other reason that you want to focus Houndmaster Pole. Okay, because then you don't have to fight anybody else. At that point, the fight ends, and you're able to
What's hiding
search
here?
the rest of the area here. So we'll go look at Houndmaster Pole. Don't believe any of these have any items. They do not.
These boots have seen everything.
You can learn a little bit.
Here lies the Houndmaster of the Durinbolds, surrounded by his loyal pack, good boys and girls all.
Okay, so a little bit sad, obviously. And here you're going to pick up the feather token. Now, this is a unique item that's only found here. If you have it in your inventory, then you are going to not take any fall damage. Now, in other words, if you have feather fall on, then this token is not going to be expended. But if you do not have feather fall on and you take fall damage, the feather token is going to negate that fall damage, and then it's going to become non-magical. So it's a one-time use thing that triggers automatically. So what I tend to do with the feather token is leave it in my inventory, or leave it in my camp until I know I'm getting into a combat which I suspect is going to have some high verticality to it. There are some of those that you deal with later on here in Act 3. I tend not to leave this in my inventory, because if somebody knocks me off of this and I hit the ground and I take 1 point of fall damage, the feather token will trigger. So I tend not to do that, and I tend to leave it in my camp until I know I'm going to need it. Yeah, and that's the other thing that I mentioned during the the Paladin live stream, is that the dogs, they only hit me once there, but that's because I only allowed them one round of combat. Or 1.5 rounds of combat. But they hit remarkably more than you would expect, based upon them having disadvantage on their attack rolls. So it's very, and that's something actually I wanted to look at, because I did get hit back here, right here. So yeah, it rolled an 18. So nothing I could really do about that. But yeah, you can see that it was getting man's best friend bonus. The plus at level 10, it's a +3 to his proficiency. So he was getting bonus added on top of that. But their damage roll is 3d6 necrotic damage. So it hits hard anyway, but for some reason it seems like they just hit you all the time. It's kind of crazy when you go in there and see how much they're hitting you. So I'm going to go in here with Shadowheart, and I'm going to open up all the sarcophagi. I'm rolling a little too well here. Okay, you can take out, again, the various bodies. The dog collars are all in here, some arrows. Nothing there on that body. Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength, which is amazing, and you can pull the dogs out as well. But again, they're not going to have anything on them. What they're good for is for create undead or animate undead. $20 balls. So yes, a lot. But the potion of speed is nice. I think I got it while guidance was active. I did. Wow, these are a lot of really good rolls. I'm afraid for what's going to happen later on.
No one stopped me yet.
Okay.
Very well.
So now I can't remember.
Here we go. I doubt a bear this size went down without a fight.
Yeah. So that's it, exploring the Durinbold Mausoleum. Now there are a couple more things to do here in the graveyard, and that includes the mortuary down here in the basement. You can also go in to this area here. You can talk to Valmorba in here. There's some weave moss and some other stuff like that that you can pick up.
More for me?
No. And then right here is the Durinbold Mausoleum key. However, if you take this key, you're going to need to immediately fast travel to your camp, because she will recognize, even if you're hidden, she will recognize that somebody has stolen it, and she will call the watch, and they will come interrogate you, and you'll have to try and talk your way out of it. So I tend not to take the key from up here, but if you would like to, you certainly can. For me, this gate is not marked red, so you can walk up and lockpick it without being in hiding at all. Okay, now the other thing that we're going to do here
Brighten up a loved one's grave with a bouquet, freshly picked.
is now we have the Grand Mausoleum.
Can't keep me out.
I don't believe the DC on this is high. It's not. Okay, so this is your entrance and exit here. So before we go around here, we want to break our
Let's get
group
on with it.
apart. Make sure that we have the perception check shield.
Looks like a trap there.
Okay, we found those two.
On I go. Let's
And
avoid
we
that
found the
trap.
third.
No one back home will ever
Okay,
believe
now
this.
these I am going to... And for Shadowheart,
Whatever it takes.
make sure we put the helm back on.
Let's get going.
And... that's it.
What's next, I wonder? This way.
Let's move. Best be on my way.
We're gonna go disarm these traps. Okay, now these traps are not, they say vents, and they are. They release a gas, but that gas is really a darkness in the form of Hunger of Hadar. So these three vents here will trigger Hunger of Hadar clouds when you open the sarcophagus. And you really don't want to be caught unawares by that. Again, we've seen how Hunger of Hadar, how damaging a spell it can be, and you certainly don't want to be caught in that if you can avoid it. So disarm these before you try and attempt to open the sarcophagus. Okay, so now that those are done, I'm going to take Shadowheart over here
This way.
and attempt to open the sarcophagus. Again, we're going to get a strength check. I think that's a fail. Nope. Okay, and in here we're going to find two Mausoleum offerings keys. Another scroll of Revivify and a skull. Okay.
All right. What now? Swift as my feet can carry me.
I'll go this way.
We have another door here. As always, I'm just moving in slow because honestly I can't remember what's in here and what's not. Okay. So nothing else in here. There are some corpse rows, so some crafting materials. Okay, nothing here. And then here on the table, you have a crumbling journal. Okay, I was still a supplicant when I came face to face with him, masked in gold, his skin fine and worn as parchment. Jurgal, the Death Keeper, the end of everything. I asked what he needed of me. He asked a simple question. What is the worth of a single mortal's life? We've heard that question before. That question was uttered to us by Withers way back at the beginning of Act 1 when we first summoned him in the overgrown ruins. He asked us, what is the worth of a single mortal's life? We responded. He said that that was correct, or that was a valid point, and then he became a part of our camp. So what this is strongly hinting at is that Withers is actually Jurgal. Now, Jurgal has a long history in the Forgotten Realms. He was the chief of staff, so to speak, of Kelemvor, who was Lord of the Dead. And he was the Lord of the end of everything, basically, as it says there at the start. There's a lot of lore that goes into Jurgal and the Forgotten Realms, and seeing it pop up here and giving us the idea that Withers is actually Jurgal was actually, was really cool to see it the first time. For people who aren't in the tabletop, Forgotten Realms, D&D type of stuff, it's not going to mean nearly as much, but it was a really cool thing that Larian added that in. Here you have 2 opulent chests, and those 2 keys that we picked up earlier are what's going to unlock them. And some crafting supplies. The beholder eye was really nice.
Have a lot on my mind. And,
Okay.
well, in it. Wonder if the gods are watching me.
So now we're done with the ancient mausoleum.
Flowers, every color of the rainbow.
If we look at our journal here real quick, there are some other things that we could continue on with. And I had mentioned a couple of things that we were going to be doing today. And one of those, if we open up our map, it looks like we already did it. I wasn't sure. Again, I'm confusing my playthroughs a little bit, but it looks like we've explored the Elfsong Tavern. I want to go back there and just make sure of what we have and have not looked at in there.
Don't think I've had whisper. Also on you.
Okay, and the Elfsong's right here.
Better not be cursed.
The mistress of disease loves us all. The false free us from the agonies we have.
Okay, and yeah, there are some things that we haven't done in here. And one of them is inside this room. And this is the Laugh Riot.
Are you funny enough to cause a laugh riot? Come on in and challenge the house comedian.
Very well.
Hey, smart stuff. I'm Willoughby, the comedian. And we got a little contest here called the Laugh Riot. You want to play along? Great! I'll go first to show you how it's done, and then you can see if you can top me. You Baldurians! You know, I wouldn't be here tonight, except my wife ran off with a cambium. That's right, I got fiend zoned. We used to have a drow comedian. I had to ask her to stop casting Tasha's hideous laughter on the audience. Then I asked her how many drow it takes to light a torch, and she said, none. We have dark vision. So I killed her.
The Elfsong patrons think that one's funny. There may be hope for you yet.
Your turn, smart stuff. Knock 'em dead, but not literally. Got me?
Okay, so we're going to win, quote unquote, the laugh riot. You don't get any reward for this, but if you have the I guess the entertainer background, you can gain an inspirational event, or you can gain an inspiration if you win this.
Got me with an ancient jest that's older than I am.
Okay, next is this one.
Win or lose, I'm stealing that one.
And then here.
Pig jokes are never wrong. Well done.
Cheers, whistles, and applause. You're almost shocked.
Yeah, you're hilarious. Now get out of here before I lose my job.
Okay, so if you, like I say, if you have the entertainer background, I think, you get an inspiration for that. I don't have anybody in my party that has it. I don't think I need any inspirations. I don't. So I'm good regardless. And this is just a storage room over here.
It's the least to waste otherwise.
Okay. Then we've already gone down here, and yes, we've already completed the Emperor's old hideout, so that must have been last week that we did it. So I don't think we talked to Davella here. We have not. Okay, we went up to the roof to visit Alfira. We did not go into the room here. This, like I've said before, this is what takes us to your camp. So you have a physical way of clicking on something to get into your camp now.
What if this was brewed with my barley?
Oh, bollocks! I told those idiots not to let anyone through. You. Name, rank, and reason for interrupting an active crime scene. For your sake, the last one better be bloody good. To fetch her another bottle of mead, no doubt. Yes, I'm Davella, the unfortunate colleague. Unless you've got useful information, leave me to my work. Duke Stelmane's dead, and I've got to find who killed her.
Okay, so Valeria wanted us to bring the target list to her. And I should have prepared better for this, because I think I've got a check coming up.
That's it. Proof that I was right. I've been working on an assignment, see? A research project of sorts. I knew my conclusions were sound. But this... I never expected this. I'll tell you what I know. A century ago, there was a man. Saravok Anchev. He was a child of the god of murder, Baal. He ruled the Iron Throne, a dark tower hiding a darker secret. It was the front for a deadly arms-dealing network. There, Saravok amassed an army and sought to become a god. Under his stewardship, the Baal Temple was revived. And with it, the Baal cult itself. Fortunately, the temple was destroyed, and to cleanse the city of Saravok's memory, the Iron Throne was torn from its foundations and cast into the Chionthal. For most, that was the end of it. But cults like that don't disappear overnight. That list you spoke of confirms I'm right. The Baal cult is back, and someone is out there, continuing Saravok's work.
Okay, so now you learn about Saravok. Saravok goes way back for us to the original Baldur's Gate game. And he was the main protagonist. You dealt with him in different ways, or he had different plot lines depending upon which version of the game that you had installed back then and which expansions you had. But he throwing again, just like we saw with Jurgal here, throwing back to tabletop, Larian throwing Easter eggs back to the previous Baldur's Gate games is a really, really nice touch.
God save us all if you're right. But I believe it. Whoever it is, they're intimately familiar with Saravok's work. The brutality of the killings is on a par with Saravok's own. But there's something more here. Something new. There's a reverence to these murders. A certain flair. It's as if they were done in worship. The precision of the cuts. The depth, the execution. The best butchers in Faerun couldn't make a cut like that. Trust me, I've asked them. I tried to explain all this to my superiors, but they wouldn't have any of it. They told me to drop it. Told me the city doesn't need another conspiracy theorist and to get back to doing my job before they find someone else to do it for me. But you're not bound by such constraints. Oh, help me out here. Help the city out. I bet if you follow the trail of these murders, you'll be able to unearth the truth of this resurgence. You really are a godsend. But one more thing. There are patriarchs on the murder target list. I'm oathbound to secure them first, so I'll be heading to the upper city next. While I'm there, the other potential victims will be at risk. Could you warn them? Thank you. That's all I can ask, and more than I hoped. Once I'm done with the Patriarchs, I'll head to Basilisk Gate to have another go at convincing my superiors to put some resources into this matter. Meet me there if you've anything more to report. And good luck.
Okay, so inside the room here, and
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
okay, a bloody signet ring here.
A bloodied ring left behind. Either the killer has fat fingers or doesn't want riches.
We made it, Lacrissa. Damn right. I'm not even pissing.
There's the perception check.
Something over there.
You can interact with the discarded wine bottle.
You'd have been fine. Unusual boss at the camp. And the smell is, certainly memorable.
Okay, so you learn that this was probably the method of poisoning for what happened here. And I do want to look. Yes.
So I spat in his last one.
Okay, so that's going to advance the Investigate the Murders quest. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking through this. So, not sure we were supposed to get that by clicking on that, because we don't have the list.
Rent is due soon. I was
What do we
thinking
have
I could do
here?
some busking.
No need. I picked up some extra shifts.
Okay, so here you learn that, again, empty bottle recently drained of its contents may be poison. And this is what killed, or what paralyzed Duke Stelmane and allowed them to kill her and remove her hand. But I'm curious about something. Because again, I don't think I'm supposed to have that. I think clicking on that is supposed to bring up the list, the murder list, and that puts the icons on your map for where all the murder targets are. Did we already warn... Okay, so that just because we had already done it when we met Orin. Okay. All right, so that advances quite a bit. You don't have to go through warning all of the murder targets, because we already went through everything to...
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
To kill Gortash.
How much farther
So I'm
can I go?
anxious to head out here real quick and try something. If that's the case. I'm pretty sure we had already warned Chef Roveer.
Oi! We got rats in cellar. We also got cats, but cats are useless. So how about you kill the rats? You did? Very clever. Good job. Yes. Here, you take this.
Okay, so we had already done that when we went down there previously while we were exploring the Emperor's hideout.
Hi, you already got paid. No more work here. Plenty of rats elsewhere in the city. Go kill those. Rats, murderers. Always knew the chef gig wasn't going to be easy. Do not worry. Chef Roveer's eyes will be kept peeled for murdering types.
Okay, so that's going to complete his storehouse quest. And yeah, see, the victim list, we don't have to warn them anymore, I don't think, but we still can warn them if we would like. And we might as well go through and do that. I don't think it's going to affect anything. I'm anxious to see if, or what happens down here at the wine tasting. I'll be anxious to see if he's even here anymore. I don't think he is. Okay. So... the... Let's go to the lower city wall real quick. I'm doing this a little bit out of order because this is, like I say, the first time that I'm going through this and experiencing this, having done this thing kind of out of order. So I'm kind of experimenting a little bit with you guys here on the stream. And for that, I'm going to head around this way to the Blushing Mermaid. I want to stay away from here.
much did you drink, you idiot, Ducal?
Just
Okay, so now I have to remember where Nesha is. And hopefully pass a check here. Of course.
What's that?
Okay, and then there she is.
My friend dared me to come here alone for a couple of mugs of ale. So here I am. Huh. Come on then, mate. Who would want me dead?
Well, it had to happen, right? Oh, here we go, chat. Here we go. There was that 0.25% chance.
Oh shit! You're serious? I can see it in your eyes. I've got shit! I've got a tab to settle. Shit!
Okay, and that should probably advance, yes, Nesha's quest.
Interesting.
So where are we here? Let's take a short rest. Now we'll head back. And actually I can fast travel out. I knew it was going to come back to get us at some point. It had to. There was no choice. So it was just a matter of time. I honestly didn't expect two back-to-back now at once, though. That was pretty impressive. Okay, so I wasn't planning to do this here, but we might as well. It's a rather interesting set of combat that we can do here, and let's go ahead and get it knocked out, because again, we don't necessarily have to anymore. So it's, but it's something that we still can do, evidently. So let's get it knocked out while we're here. So, and that is that, if you remember, we had the murder list, and we may actually still have it. Yeah, we do. Okay, and the people who are alive are listed down here. Okay, now the ones that are in the upper city don't matter. So who we have is Nesha, Chef Roveer, both of whom we've warned. Cora Highberry, who is right here. And Figaro Pennygood. Now, Figaro Pennygood, and of course, I didn't open that up. You know, I've never warned him beforehand. So I might as well try this too and see what happens. Since we're all about doing things different. Barkus is still standing out here. I'm gonna go up here and unlock this waypoint. Just so I have somewhere easy to fast travel back to. But also, while we're doing it, we're gonna go warn Figaro and see what happens. Because again, I've never done it in this order. So Figaro is here in the Facemaker's boutique.
Welcome back to Figaro Facemaker, where the clothes are to die for.
Okay.
Do you get it? To die for. Clothes.
I actually don't know what,
Can we please get back to work?
what happens here. Because normally if I deal with Dolor and then I go into this room, Dolor is in here. I don't know what happens if I just walk in here though without having done this with Dolor, so we'll see what happens.
Get your garbs from Figaro Facemaker.
Okay, so there's Figaro. Let's go warn him.
You appear to be lost, dear. I specialize in fashion, not potato sacks.
Oof.
What's rude, dear, is strolling into a place like this, looking like that. A certain level of class is expected by my clientele. So if you wish to stay, I must insist you purchase some less depressing garments.
Okay, so let's try and warn him here.
If looks could kill, Lord Gortash would have already hanged me. I wouldn't worry too much. This is undoubtedly some rumor cooked up by my many rivals. Well, I suppose if it's that elaborate a prank, it rolls out my sister as the culprit. Carmen can barely organize her own shop. Never mind stage a murder mystery to meddle with me. Very well. I'll take my precautions. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't think it's necessarily going to matter that we've done that. But now we have a fast travel point unlocked over here, and we need to go here again, so we're kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. Okay, so we will make our way back to the wine tasting here and get into a conversation with Cora.
Why, yes, Edvard. Can I call you Edvard?
Now, if you remember from the hints that we've been gathering, a dwarf dressed in red has been the common theme that we've seen throughout all of the Investigate the Murderers reports that we've dealt with. And sure enough, we have a dwarf dressed in red here. So you can expect that you're going to probably run into something here. So let's talk to Cora.
Why, hello there. We were just about to try some of Master Metzley's delightful wines. Would you care to join us?
Oh, they do look ever so tasty.
Ah, Mrs. Highberry, I prefer to conduct tastings individually, so I may assess your palate.
Call me Cora, Master Metzley. And I'm afraid I must insist on their joining us. Wine's no good without company, after all.
Okay, so I failed the medicine check here, which would let you know that the wine has something in it. We're going to go ahead and warn her here.
No. I must say, if this is a practical joke, it's not very amusing.
Why, a serial killer? Oh, that's terrible. Master Metzley, are you quite all right?
It was perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You have sullied it with knowledge, made it an unclean sacrifice. I will remember your face, and I will peel it from your skull should you interfere again.
Okay, now Dolor is always going to roll first. And you saw what happened there is that Dolor has the boots of Dimension Door. He's got a pair of boots on that allow him to cast a very specialized Dimension Door spell. Now, you can counterspell this if you have... It's a level 5 conjuration spell, so you need to cast counterspell at level 5 to be able to deal with it. But you can counterspell it, and Dolor will be prevented from traveling away. Now you can see this version of Dimension Door goes 100 meters, so it is all the way across the map. He's just gone. You don't have any choice of killing him here, unless you counterspell Dimension Door. And then you are again going to have to lock him in place because he will cast invisibility and try and slink off. Now, the game intends him to escape here, so it doesn't necessarily break things. However, the quest log can get a little bit messed up if you do that. So at the end of the day, you can just fight. There are going to be 4 doppelgangers that are here now, and I want to see who's going first. So this one back here is going first, so let's go ahead and move up here. I'm going to not ranged. Going to slashing flourish here. Actually, I'm going to no resistance. Didn't need the critical miss. So he's going to go after Will. If I would have hit with the second one, I would have been able to kill him. Hopefully I'll absorb his attack here, though. Okay, so he's going to leave. There we go. So that gave me the extra attack I needed to be able to kill him.
Finding my way.
I didn't. I forgot about him. Thankfully, he missed. So he's got 12. Let's guarantee the kill here. Who's next? He is.
Dolor.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Run away from me. Okay. So we saved on Morphic Ambush, so I get my opportunity attack because he's within range. Perfect. I love Polar Master for that. It gives you that free attack when they come within range. So certainly very, very useful. only 55%.
Fall, damn you.
Okay, so now he's knocked prone, so I should have advantage on all the attacks against him. Saved again. Now he's gonna Morphic ambush again. Take the opportunity attack. Oh. Okay, so we saved against all the Morphic ambushes. When they transform back into their doppelganger selves, you get the Morphic ambush that you have to save against. If you fail against it, you are successfully ambushed, and then they can use multi-attacks against you. That's what that's for. Don't need to react to that. Let's use my bonus action here and see if I can kill him. Outstanding. Don't need to Divine Smite. Don't need to use my bonus action either, or my action surge.
That should work.
Cutting to the chase.
Perfect.
He escaped. Going to his next victim, no doubt.
Okay, now on the corpses here.
Can't believe Lord Gortash has shuffled off for good.
You're going to find, hopefully, a Carabasan's gift. So, a very, very good poison to use. But then,
I'm
I
exhausted.
think Cole.
Better find somewhere to camp soon.
Yes. Cole's going to have the Tombstone shop key. We have this in our quest log to go to Candle Hollow's Tombstone shop, and this is a key to get us down in there. And you learn that a scarred dwarf is a promising candidate for unholy assassin, and that's Dolor, who we've seen working his way through here. So he's trying to become the unholy assassin, and he's committing these murders to do it.
Need to find a way forward. Seems like a good moment to talk.
I still can't believe... Why would anyone want to kill me? Thank you for saving us.
Okay, you're going to get 1,000 gold for rescuing Cora, and we can split off some of that. Send it to our camp. We don't need to carry all of it. And all of this should be updating in the background, even though we don't need it anymore. So we need to now chase down the serial killer. And the last person on that list is Figaro. We warned him. He said he was going to be on his guard.
Now Gortash is done for. No such luck. Belching smoke and metal screeches.
I'm anxious to see...
No way to run a business,
Okay,
I say.
so the door's closed up again. Okay. And for this fight, you're going to have to multitask this a bit. Inside this room, specifically over here, Figaro is going to be in this chair. Devella is going to be laying on the ground here. Both Devella and Figaro are going to be paralyzed. When they're paralyzed, that means any hit is a guaranteed crit. Now, Devella has something like 70 plus hit points, so she can accept a couple of hits, probably. However, Figaro has 8 hit points. He can't take any hits, let alone a crit. So you need to hope that you roll well on this as far as the initiative goes, because Dolor in here is going to prioritize killing Figaro. So one thing that I want to do... Oof. I don't have any at all. So I want to make sure that we have Sanctuary prepped on Shadowheart. Okay, and Shadowheart has the alert feat, which if you don't already have it on her, this would be a good time to do a respec and get it, because she needs to be able to cast Sanctuary, and to do that she needs to roll in front of Dolor, and to do that she needs to roll high enough on initiative. Now she doesn't have a high dex, she's going to be counting on the +5 from initiative to roll in front of him, because I don't have a scroll to be able to cast Sanctuary from for anybody like my Bard who may roll in front of Dolor, but Shadowheart doesn't. So much is going to depend on the roll here. The second thing to know is that everything is taking place in this room here. Your victims are in this room, but there are other enemies that are going to be around you. And you need to make sure that you are prioritizing defending the people in this room. And to do that, you do not want to enter through these doors. You can't reach that room in a single turn. It's too far. So you want to be able to reach this area as fast as you can. And for that, I'm going to... and these are probably still broken. Nope, they're not. So my movement speeds, 15, 12, 15, and 14. So I want Will closest to that action over there. And then I can have my Bard, and then Curse and Shadowheart are both the same. Now, we can possibly get some additional movements coming from this because of items that we have. So let's make sure we are fully equipped for this and ready to go. Looks like we are. So we're gonna take Will, put him right here at this corner.
Can't give up now.
My Bard.
With haste.
Looking ahead.
Curse.
How much farther can I go? The
And
pride
Will.
of the gate.
No way to run a business, I say.
Oops,
Can't even
not
browse
Will.
while he's with a client.
Then Shadowheart.
Wits and blades, always sharp. Onward, ever onward.
Is that right, or did I reverse Shadowheart? Nope, Shadowheart's got 50. Okay. So now I'm going to open the door with whoever I want to start the conversation. And that's going to be my Bard here.
Magic.
It's unusual for prey to supply the tools of its own butchery. Razors, scissors, nail files. So many cuts one couldn't make. And yet, such a fleeting window. But then, who am I to deny the auspices of destiny? For we are celebrating, Master Figaro. You have the delicious honor of being my crowning achievement. Your body is my ultimate gift to my lord, but together we shall transcend.
Okay, so if you take the stealth option here, Figaro dies. Okay, so you want to take any other option to basically enter into combat. I've got a bard option here. You have a lot of different class options that go along with it.
A challenger. My lord tests me. This piteous hovel will be your grave, challenger.
Okay, so here's the initiative order. So Dolor first came after me. Okay, so we rolled a crit on me. So he needed a 26 to hit, and he rolled a nat 20. So let's impose disadvantage. Hopefully he won't roll another nat 20. Perfect. Okay. So it's good that he came after me, but you can see there are other people here. And Figaro and Davella are paralyzed. So Shadowheart rolled way down at the bottom here. Which is not good. So we're going to get in here. I'm going to provoke an attack of opportunity here from Figaro. Oh, he rolled a crit. Wow, the dude just rolling crits all day long. That's his second nat 20. You're killing me, Smalls. Who's next? She is. I need to get rid of her. So... resistances, none. Okay, let's see if I can get them both here. I don't think I can. Oh, I can. So, roll. No, I need socks. Okay, perfect. Let's Luck of the Far Realms that. Outstanding. Okay, and good. We can probably do another here and hopefully get rid of roll too. Outstanding. Well done, Bard. That's a swords bard for you right there.
This is my time.
Okay, so now Dolor does not have another attack of opportunity. So I do not want to... get too far into this. So who's next? He's next. These two are next after this. That's not a problem. So... trying to think how I want to play this. Shadowheart. Probably kill him. Let's...
Another fight.
Do I have any movement left? I do. Let's try and move back out here. That would be bad because if I threw it, it's going to cause damage to her. Let's actually move in here and cause disadvantage on the ranged attack. Okay, so now here I'm going to move in.
gods know what else is down there.
Let's drop 2 on him.
Can't even browse while he's with a client.
And sure, we'll put 1 on Dolor.
Another witness to my sacrifice.
Oh, wow. Okay, thanks. So we'll actually quicken that. Well, we don't necessarily have to. But why not? I've got it. Oh, I don't have my bonus action. Yeah. Now these 2 are going to come up. They're going to morphic ambush. And we saved. That's good. We'll take the opportunity attack. And we critted. We don't need to Divine Smite that. We'll save those for Dolor here in a second. Here comes another morphic ambush. And he's dashing, which is good. Okay. So now I'm going to get an attack of opportunity here.
What do you mean? What else is down
But I might not have to move. Yeah, I'm going to have to move. So how far in here can I get? I can get all the way in here. Drop this at level 5. That ends that. We'll get a hit on Dolor.
On I go.
And we'll end that. And I'm going to move back a little bit. Just to open up this area here. Oh, come on. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. This is great. Okay. Well, at least that made up for it. Okay, and let's drop the hammer on this one, and we're good. You can see what happened with his attitude.
No time to dally.
Let's get going.
Better than nothing.
I should have known it would be you. Thank you. If it had been the dwarf alone, we might have stood a chance. But these doppelgangers, they swarmed us. We were paralyzed before we even had the chance to fight back. I was heading that way after we last spoke, when I heard a commotion. I stepped in to see what was going on. It's not every day you have the chance to catch a killer in action. Not even in this profession. These killings aren't random. In fact, they seem to be part of some sort of test. That document you showed me before, the one with the victims' names on it, that was the briefing. The killers paralyze their victims, take their hands as an offering for Baal, and make it look like the cult of the Absolute was behind it all. It grants them access to a tribunal. From what I could gather, it's some sort of rite of initiation for aspiring cultists to prove their worth. And it's taking place beneath Candle Hallow's tombstones. It's It's not a place I'd ever heard of, if I'm honest. But rumor has it there were some hidden cellars somewhere near the Elfsong. How did you... Perhaps it's best I don't ask. Do what you have to do. And I'll pick up where I left off. The upper city. When I'm done, I'll stop by the Basilisk Gate.
Okay, so the hand that we have is Gortash's hand. You won't normally have completed the quest to get Gortash's Netherstone yet. So you won't have this. So if that dialogue option will turn into I don't have a hand, and then you can search. She will tell you that she hasn't inventoried the crime scene yet.
Anything of use?
And you can search Dolor, and there's a handbag here. The Scarlet Leather Armor, nothing special. +1 bonus to stealth checks. Nothing really interesting. Dagger +2 is okay, but again, you've got much better dagger options. Dolor Amaris, however, is a really good dagger. Especially for certain builds. Disregard the psychic damage that's coming from my ring. The damage in and of itself is nothing special. However, the trait is what's important. When you land a critical hit with a weapon or an unarmed attack, that's important. It deals an additional 7 damage. Now, that's a flat 7. That's not a roll. That is a flat 7 damage, which the only things that get better than that are your feat-based sharpshooter, great weapon master, that sort of stuff, as well as your item-based version, which gives you a roll on a hit with your spell attack rolls that can be a 1d8. So this is a really, really good option for your crit builds. Now, with a weapon or an unarmed attack, well, how do you get critical hits with an unarmed attack when you're holding Dolor Amaris in your hand? And that's where your monk build comes in. You are able to make an unarmed attack with your bonus actions, either through Flurry of Blows or just through your flat martial arts bonus unarmed attack, to give you the ability to crit with that unarmed attack and deal an additional 7 damage on that crit. Monk-based builds can be incredible DPS characters. If you build out your monk to be a crit build, you're going to miss out on a couple of specialized monk items that could up your multi-turn damage or your single target damage. However, if you build it with a crit and you're landing as a crit build with landing crits on 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, so literally 30% of the time you're landing a crit, that additional flat 7 damage can turn them into DPS monsters across multiple turns. So this is a really good weapon to have in your inventory somewhere, even if you don't have a build for it. Specifically like keeping it in your offhand for your Gloomstalker assassins or something like that. You can also take a benefit of this through other classes as well. This is the Space Shunt boots. Now remember, we saw the boots of Dimension Door when he teleported out. That was a level 5 conjuration spell that moved him 100 meters. Dimension Door doesn't work like that. Dimension Door is normally a level 4 conjuration spell that moves you and an ally to a place you can see, and that range is normally out to 30 meters, not 100. So that was a very specialized spell that he had that doesn't exist on anything you're going to get in the game by killing him. So I wish I had a dimension door spell that I could cast that would take me 100 meters, but no, it's not the case here with these boots. However, taking these and getting you a free cast of dimension door can be very useful when you're going through the Iron Throne later on. So keep that in mind, that completing this before you go and getting these boots gets you basically that, a free cast of dimension door. The handbag we'll learn about here in a second. The Torn and Bloody page, if you read this, this is where you get the password to the Candle Hallows tombstone door, is from here. We already have it. Orin wants us to come visit her, and to do that we need to go through that same place, so she's already given it to us, but this is how you would normally get it.
Passphrase, Sicarius, and a location.
Now also here we picked up a handbag. It's a bag of hands. Oh, play on words there. These are all the hands of his victims that he's killed. So you need 2 hands to be able to enter through the door down there, and this gives you the opportunity to find 4 of them. Gortash's hand also works. There's a list of the hands that works on the wiki, I believe. And there are more than just those 5 hands that you can get, or to utilize to get through the door. So we're going to take a few things. So all of this is just going to be sold. Just trying to get rid of the encumbrance, and there we go. So here we have the hands from Dolor, and now we have the other thing that we need. We learned the password previously. She wanted us to bring Gortash's hand, proof of the slaughter. So we already had that. This just gives us another option to show when we get down there. But yes, that is below Candle Hallows tombstones, and that will lead us down to the Temple of Baal. So the investigate the murders should have advanced as well. This is where you learn it's under Candle Hallows and that there's a passphrase. Okay, so that's the normal way to that the game expects you to complete this. So now for the last hour here, we have some options on what we want to do, and how about we head down into the sewers for a little bit and do some explorations down there. You have a couple of quest markers here, and we had one here. It depends on where you're standing. It's going to highlight the one that's closest to you, and these are markers for manholes that lead you down into the sewers. Okay? This manhole leads you more directly to the guild hall. But almost nowhere else. This manhole here leads you to the sewers and other areas other than the guild hall. Okay? Before we leave, we're going to go talk to Pennygood, though. And let me make sure that I have the Ring of Geniality on.
Most tasteless slogan you've come up with yet. Great.
I must say, I'm damn lucky you showed up when you did. Can you believe what that monster was doing? Truly? Then you're made of sterner stuff than I, friend. I'll confess, it terrified me greatly. Can you imagine dressing entirely in red? Jests aside, thank you. You forever have my humblest gratitude and a most generous discount on my wares.
So now his tune has changed. He's no longer insulting us, because obviously we saved his life.
In the face of such horror, I don't see that I have much choice. Now, how may I help you today? Very good, ma'am.
And now you can immediately see that he is attitude 100. So we don't have to spend gold to up his attitude. This gives us another vendor with a 100 attitude that we can sell items to. Now, Pennygood, if you are into your fit, this is the place to be. This has all of the best clothing items. It has all of the best dyes. And if you are all about how you look, this is definitely the place to be. It has, like I say, the best shoes, the best clothes, even the best underwear. There's also unique clothing in here, like the elegant robe and that sort of stuff that you can pick up. So there is some really, really good stuff in here to take a look at. I'm going to tend to utilize Figaro more for the fact that he always has a lot of gold. So I'm going to utilize Figaro to sell off all of the stuff that I'm carrying, so I don't have to worry about my carry weight again, and I don't need the pale orange dye either. So let's just go ahead and clear all of this out. Oh, there's probably a dagger +2 up here that I don't need. And we'll just quickly clear this out. So all of the Githyanki weapons that we picked up. Don't need a rapier +1. Now we're going to be getting close. This is 360. So I'm down to 67. So I need 25 now. Here's 20. The balls are worth 1 each. Okay. So we can actually take one of those back. Okay. And that's going to clean out a bunch of our inventory. Now again, remember, like I said, there's some really good dyes in here. The dark amethyst is really pretty. The gorgeous maroon is also really good. There's also the sinful red on bone white, which is another one of my favorites. I may actually just buy that while I'm here. And we'll throw in some items to make up for that. Okay. And when you buy or pick up one of those dies, you're going to get an inspiration depending upon your background. So we got 2 of them, which is good. That brought our inspirations back up to 4, which we needed.
Now remember, fashion's a fickle mistress, so be sure to return.
So while I'm here... Okay. I like the red on white motif that goes along with this. I think it looks really cool. So, a few things that we don't need. Oh, there's the Sword of the Emperor. I forgot about this. I asked about it during my Paladin playthrough and had forgotten about it. This would have been giving me an additional 1d4 against shapeshifters during all of those fights. I just forgot about it, honestly. So, it's strength-based. It's not finesse like Fowler Louvre is. So I would really need to take an elixir to be able to utilize this better during those fights and be able to hit more often. But this would have given me another plus 1d4 against all of them. But I don't need to carry that around. Some of these arrows I can throw in here. I don't need the still maker. I can send that off. Don't need another shield plus 1. I don't need Dolor Amorous. I'm going to sell the scarlet leather armor. I'll keep those on me. And then all of these can go in my potion bag.
Can't give up now.
Okay, nothing real special here. I don't need the Light of Creation anymore. Not going to need the Vision of the Absolute. Not going to need Giant Breaker either. Or the Hellrider combo. I can just clear up some carry weight here. I'm not going to use the shield plus 1 over that. I don't think... I'll keep that actually just for something coming up. As far as the rest of this, she already has some stuff in a trash bag. Yes, she does. So let's just fill up the rest of this in her trash bag, and then we're going to head to the sewers. The arrows go to me. And she's not able to pick up, she doesn't have an alchemy pouch for some reason. Okay. He's carrying probably a few extra things here. I'm probably not going to need the light of, or the blood of Lathander, but I'll keep it for now. Definitely don't need the magical pike. Don't need Kerwin's. Okay.
Have a lot on my mind.
All right, so we're going to head out of here
In it.
and head right around the corner.
At the ready.
This way. And there's the manhole we're looking for. So we'll get into some minor fights down here. Shouldn't really be all that difficult, but something good to end off the the rest of the live stream with. So we'll head down here in the manhole. And now we're in the sewers. Okay. Now you see we have a group of grease methods over here. Okay, standard method types, just a different method of attack. And we also have some grease balls here, which again are very much like your oozes and that sort of stuff, just of a different type. We also have more of them down here, and this is the way we're going to go first. I think that spot is safe. Yes, it is. That's as close as they come. I'm gonna wait that they've turned around. Whew. Okay. Turned around right when I wanted to approach. Okay. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and start this off. I can't remember if they have, I didn't check resistances. So they're vulnerable to fire, which we are certainly going to take advantage of. See if I get a surprise round. I did. So let's see. And again, he is resistant to slashing damage. That moved him back and got me some extra range. Since it's a surprise round, I can go ahead and apply X. Hits with all three.
Survival is all that matters.
Can't afford any mistakes.
Did you go for a swim?
Okay, and I don't want to use any action economy, but Shadowheart has a cantrip here. Firebolt, which does 3 to 30 damage, but they are vulnerable to it. Which means that did not 562. That did 56. So she rolled with advantage. So she rolled a 22. Her damage roll out of a possible 30, she rolled 28 on that damage roll. So an amazing damage roll.
Waiting with bated breath.
What's the name of that river down there?
Now Kurz should be able to finish this off with an Elder's Blast. Or 3. Perfect. Okay. So that's how we're going to attempt to play this here. So I'm going to leave everybody here. I'm going to move down with my Bard. Now when we trigger this, we have 2 methods here. We have another method here and a grease ball here. There are also,
It's not licking, it's trying.
I think, grease balls farther down here. But as long as we trigger a surprise round, yeah, there's another grease ball down there. We should be okay. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go into turn-based mode. Okay, now remember the methods have Death Burst. So when they die, they're going to explode for 2d6 force damage, and we can take advantage of that. So let's try and get a surprise round. I'd have to move into sight there to do it. Let's just try and trigger a surprise round. And we got it. So now I'm just going to move in and try and target this one first. So I can hit him, crazy enough. Let's not knock him back. Oh. And I rolled a 1.
I can't waste any more time.
The best laid plans of mice and men.
What's the name of that river?
Because I don't think I'm going to have line of sight. Oh, I do. Okay. Okay, so that killed 2 of the Mephits. The other one took some damage from it. I must have missed. But it took some damage from the explosions.
Eyes open, mouth shut.
And that should have removed all the detection cones up to that point. Let's go see. This one is probably still there. Yep. But it lets me move much further up for this attack. I don't like that one. Let's try there instead. See if we can get line of sight here. We can. Try 2 there and 1 here. That's a hit. That's a crit on the grease ball. That's good. That's probably going to kill it. Yes, it did. Okay, so now we just have this 1 grease ball here. And I'm going to move Will back out of the way.
Can't afford to stay idle.
And I'm just going to let that Mephit come to me. Or let that grease ball come to me. We had a really good first Nova turn. So let's just move up and take Eldritch Blast shots at it with Hex, and we should be able to end this. I'm trying not to involve the grease elementals in this fight. Okay. So these 2 grease balls came in, so actually I don't want to. I'm just going to go here and then I'm going to move back. I should have hexed first. This grease ball is going to get a chance to shoot at me. I'm afraid if I attack it, I'm going to bring this group into this fight, and I don't want to yet.
This is my time.
So I'm going to let them all come to me. Okay, it just dashed. That's fine. We'll invoke the attack or provoke the attack of opportunity here. Not too worried about that.
One day, I'll catch a break.
And now for this, I can turn all of my repelling blast back on.
On the victor's path.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a kill, or get the kill with one of these, so let's move Will up.
Making my move.
See if we can get... We can't. So they're still gonna have to dash to get to me.
Still breathing. Despite
We'll just stay in place. Yep. Oof, lots of damage.
On the victor's path.
Drop 2 here and 1 here. Hopefully kill both. Outstanding. Okay, now as far as this group goes, it's a fight I don't necessarily want to have right now.
I'm exhausted.
I'm going to look at something. Real quick.
What's the name of that river down there?
Of course, you're my favorite, but I made the others from your mass.
Whatever it's
so
called,
they are
it's
my
impressive.
favorite too.
And it tastes great.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this yet. It's been a long time since I've come down here. But right now they're non-hostile. Okay, and I want to end up going to talk to Alis, but not right this second. Okay, the grease balls I don't believe have anything on them. Now I'm going to be a little careful here. I want to swap Shadowheart's perception shield back out. Apply guidance.
No time to waste.
And move her in here. There are going to be 4 passive perception checks. There's one. There'll be another up here.
What's that?
Another one over here.
What's that? I'd better take a peek.
Okay. And here you learn, we just saw Alis. Okay, here you learn about Alis, Boreki, and Saren. Okay, you learn that they are really just thieves. According to Alis, the 3 best thieves in Baldur's Gate. And they just ripped off Gortash. And Saren was saying that he was not trying to keep the treasure from you. And if I know you two at all, you're going to spend it all in one spot and bring Gortash down on him. So he's trying to hold off on giving them the treasure for their own good. So there are also some other things that you can look at in here. Propaganda for joining the guild.
Better take a look.
Okay, an excerpt from a larger journal. Bereki wanted to try the guild hall, but there are too many different crews there, too many eyes and ears. It's just Bereki, Alis, and I, we can't trust anyone. Okay, so they, and now before she goes down here, I need to give my last one, and there it is. And here you have a painted key. What was that? Ah, planar binding. Awesome spell. And here you have a painted chest. I give you 3 guesses as to what chest the painted key goes to, and the first 2 don't count. Okay, so in here, more crafting materials. These are scripted, so you're always going to get the same ones. The Elixir of Vigilance, really nice. Okay, that gives you your alert feat, basically, a +5 on your initiative roll, and you can't be surprised. Okay, now these doors will lead you out back into that same spot that we were. So if you want to avoid all of this combat, you can by coming in here and bypassing things with the doors. Now this one, these 2 are going to be sitting out here, so you may have to fight them anyway. And here in this room, you have a room with caustic brine all over the place. Now, caustic brine is damaging when you step in it. It's not acid, it's caustic. So if you stand in it, you're going to take damage over time while you're here. So you don't want to do that. Shadowheart should have enough.
I'll brave a lot of things.
And again, you can see where the brine is by where it turns yellow. She has fly. Okay.
Quiet as a mouse.
And here, you can see that we have some what are quite obviously cultists of Baal. Okay. So we can have a fight down here. Now they are not outlined in red. They are non-hostile right now. But it leads you into this area here, which we will be exploring, just not right now at this particular time. Okay, so if we head up this way, now we're in the same room that is at the end of this long corridor. No, and I don't want to do that here. And now,
Let's try this way.
You see we have Darrow Vin up here. Darrow Vin has an impenetrable slumber effect. Where he's under the influence of copious sleeping draughts. It's impossible to wake him. Okay, so a Mephistopheles tiefling who's now basically passed out. So we can make our way up here. And you can see laying all over the floor, empty potions of sleep. Okay. Now, I don't know of any interactions with him. I've read a bunch of forum posts about him, but I don't know of a way to wake him up. So, not that I have found. I looked at this probably a month ago, I think, when I came here in my personal playthrough. I didn't look all that hard, but I didn't find anything. So, if any of you are aware of an interaction with him to wake him up, feel free. But you can't wake him up by any of the normal means of interacting with him. None of your healing spells, greater or lesser restoration, none of that sort of stuff works because I've saved and then tested them. So I know that none of those things work. It'd be interesting.
Perfectly hidden.
Yeah, you can't pickpocket hostile entities. So, something that I will leave there, but is rather interesting. Another potion of sleep, and here is the letter. So, don't waste yourself on grieving. You fled Eltero to find a better life for both of you. However, the guild always needs knife hands, and you won't ever go hungry in my employ. I've included a small pouch, enough to buy a small funeral and close that chapter of life. So, in other words, that your husband was known to be traveling with, I'm sorry to tell you, they seem to have crossed paths with the Absolute's forces. So, Vin here, or Darrow here, lost her husband, and instead of utilizing the thieves' tools and the potion of sleep to embark on a life with the guild, he took all of the potions of sleep. And that's what has led them to this particular spot in life. So I don't think you can wake them up. I think it's just a tragic type of encounter to see. But if anybody knows anything, let me know. A greasy, smelly climb up. This is another way into this area. There's a particular spot up top that leads down from here that we haven't dealt with yet, and we don't want to go up that way. Okay, you don't want to step in the water down here. But I'm just going to open up the map. And this area here is right where we were with the cultists over here. So I don't think, yeah, there's nothing over there. And she failed her perception check. Oh, I ran out of guidance.
What path lies before me?
I don't know if I'll get a second chance at this perception check.
A long way to go still.
Because I've already dug it up.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. Be wary.
So I did
This
get it.
place is trapped.
The chest is trapped. Ooh, I shouldn't have. Okay, so first,
Might be useful.
over here and look at the Kobold Thief. There's a map of the sewers here with a big, rather amateurish X drawn on it. Bug Thimble Dragon Tribe Treasure. And there is your marker for the dirt mound. And I failed that perception check again.
I wonder what the next move is. Have to keep pushing.
Oh. Rolled a 5. Now it's a DC 25, so I expect it to be a little difficult. Okay, so that perception was successful.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, a 20 to make up, hopefully, for one of those horrific back-to-back nat 1s that we rolled. And I apologize, I'm just looking for something here. Okay. And we're going to come back to this area. See, I need to actually pass that perception check. I need to see if I can do that. Oops.
And I'm off.
I don't think I'm going to have a real good chance with anybody to do it. But let's see. So his chance at perception is nothing. So he has no bonuses to it at all. So he's not going to be able to pass it except with a nat 20.
What's next, I wonder? You need to pick me up.
Defender of the people. Checking things out.
Yeah, didn't expect that. Oh, rolled a 19, so it did as well as he could. But yeah, my two best shots rolled low on this. I can add in shapeshifters. Well, wait, what's Kurz's chance here? Perception, he's got +0, so it's not going to really matter either. He's going to have to roll a nat 20 to make it work.
My faith protects me.
Let's get going. If not over, then through.
Okay, and yeah, he failed it too. So, okay. We'll come back and get this prepped. I'm going to bring other party members back here to try and disarm the chest. And then we will come back and deal with this. But for now, I'm not going to do it because I want to try and illustrate this, and I can't right here. Well, I guess I could, but I don't want to do it that way.
Time to press ahead.
So let's go ahead and head back, and we will make our way up here. Okay, now here you have these cranium rats.
We watch, we wait.
And up here, you have a waypoint. Okay. Now this symbol should be familiar to you. Okay, this is the symbol of Ball here. There's a skull here, and it's facing upward. That'll give you a little hint as to what you need to do, because there's obviously a door here. That door is locked, but lock picking's impossible. So there's got to be a way to open it, and there is. We're just not going to deal with it right this second. We can go talk to the voiceless penitent, Bareki. Okay, so this is the second of the three. Alis back there and Bareki here. He's now a voiceless penitent, but he was one of the original thieves.
The penitent looks at you silently, expectantly. The penitent doesn't respond, holding your gaze almost unblinkingly with his.
You're going to get the same thing.
The penitent doesn't respond, holding your gaze almost unblinkingly with his.
With all of these options.
The penitent doesn't respond,
except for the one asking to see his wares.
Unblinkingly with his. There is the slightest flicker of acknowledgement in his eyes.
Okay. Two items down here that Bareki has. Both fairly expensive if you want to pick them up. So the Bone Spike helmet has Fury in the Marrow. In the Marrow. When you rage, hostile creatures in a 3-meter radius must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or take 2d4 psychic damage. Okay. Either way, they're still going to take 1d4 psychic damage. It gives you +2 on intimidation rolls, and it gives you access to the menacing attack melee weapon action. So even if you're not a barbarian who is raging and taking advantage of that, and what that really means is that before you rage, you move into the middle of the enemies that you're going to be attacking. Instead of raging and then moving toward them, you move toward them and then rage, so that you can try and catch as many of them as possible in the radius to inflict the psychic damage. But the melee, the menacing attack melee, it refreshes per turn. That means you're going to have access to a menacing attack every turn, so you can possibly frighten targets for 2 turns, and you can do that every turn that you would, or that you have. So it's a great way to get access to a frighten ability, especially when you're moving into that combat anyway. It helps give an enemy disadvantage on their attack rolls against you. And you can do it for 2 turns. So you can hit an enemy, then your next turn hit another enemy. Then on your next turn, go back to the first enemy and reapply it, etc., etc., etc. over and over again. And they're just going to have disadvantage on all their attack rolls. So a really, really good overall helmet to have, especially for your barbarian types. This is one of 3 different druid armor sets. These are the very rare druid specific armors. There's one for the 3 different subclasses. So this is the Way of the Moon druid. There's a Way of the Land set, and there's a Way of the Spore set, or piece of armor, I should say. The Way of the Moon druid is all about wild shaping. You stay in wild shape almost all the time. You have the Lunar Mend ability, which allows you to get hit points back in your wild shape and all that sort of stuff. So what the Moon Basking armor does is you gain 22 temporary hit points after casting wild shape. So your wild shapes have a lot more temporary hit points. And while those temporary hit points are active, reduce all incoming damage by 1. Okay, so you're going to be taking less damage that entire time that you're in there as well. Then you have Lunar Bestial Fortitude. You have a +2 bonus to armor class for your wild shape. You also have advantage on saving throws against spells. This effect persists while you're using your wild shape ability. So this is all about buffing your wild shape, whichever one you're going to be in. Now, remember, some of the wild shapes at the high end of the Way of the Moon Druid can have a lot of hit points. You can be up in the 150 hit point range in your wild shape and taking reduced damage and having temporary hit points all at the same time. So this gives a really good armor set for your Way of the Moon Druids to have. He's also going to sell a lot of the higher end crafting supplies. So you're going to find a lot of these in here. The Nothic Eyes, the Purple Worm Gullets for your poisons, your Keyrin Hair for your supreme healings. So he sells a lot of good stuff down here. It's another good, if you're planning to buy both of these, you're at 2,000 gold. So again, go up his attitude to 100 before you buy them, and you'll end up saving about 300 gold overall.
Blinks, you think? You were dismissed.
And we're going to continue on down this way. And there's a passageway here. Okay. This passageway leads you into something called the Ancient Lair. And we're going to be delving much more in depth into this next week. My plan is that next week we fully jump into the quest line that goes along with this. It's a bit entangled with another quest line. The two work hand in hand with each other. So what we're going to do here is use the last bit of our time here to have this encounter here. There's something very important down here that we can get that is going to apply to both of those quests. So let's go ahead and clear this out now. Now you're going to find a couple of dead adventurers down here, and this should be giving you a hint that something's going on. Okay. And now it's very important before you come in here that you have Hero's Feast, so you're immune to being frightened, or you have some other way to prevent yourself from being frightened by either casting Calm Emotions or something like that before you come into this fight. What triggers it is looting anything in here. If you touch any of the chests that are in here, this fight is going to start.
No.
Now what I want to do
Can't slow down.
is break my group.
I'm ready. Whatever it takes.
Shadowheart still have the shield. No, she does not, because I swapped these shields. Now she does. Okay, and she made the successful perception check. Now what I'm gonna, if you go through this stone wall, it's also going to trigger this fight. So just like last time.
Is that blood? No, never mind. Should mind my step.
I'm going to move everybody up here.
Still breathing, despite everything. Another step
Next
forward.
to this door.
What am I needed? 2 steps at a time.
Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that Shadowheart has her regular shield on. I'm going to see what the lockpick number here is. It's a 20, that's what I thought. That's with
Still alive,
Shadowheart.
so that's progress.
So let's get Shadowheart
comes,
to
I'm ready.
buff my bard.
I've got a
Actually, I
long
think
road
we'll
ahead.
get it while we're in
Come
here.
on, open up.
Okay, so let's add in guidance from Shadowheart. Perfect. Okay. Now again, as soon as we touch this door, we're going to trigger a fight. Okay. You see we have a quest marker in here, but that's for something else. So let's go ahead and open this door. Okay. So we rolled first in initiative, which is awesome. So I'm going to provoke the attack of opportunity from the Ancient Servant here with my Bard, so that I can just remove it. Okay. So yes, let's go ahead and proc Sentinel. We might as well. I'm not going to react. Okay. And from here, I'm just going to move in a little bit and make sure that my repelling blast is on. Now, as far as they go, they're immune to necrotic damage. Okay, so my hex isn't going to do any good, but they are vulnerable to fire. The reason that you don't want them to be, or you want to be immune to frighten, is because if you're frightened, they can multi-attack all of you. And they have a ranged spell, quote-unquote, called Frightening Gaze or something like that, that can frighten you from range. So you really want to be immune to frightened when you come in here. And now I want to start moving everybody back. Especially the big boys here. Okay. Now I'm going to move back into this room. I'm thinking, yes. I'm going to move back into this room.
On the victor's
I'm going to move Will back.
Another fight. Let's
Good,
go.
Curse has it.
Forever dauntless.
So while Will is here, he does not have Repelling Blast. See if we can get the kill on this Ancient Servant. Nope. Okay, so we'll move Will back.
Coming through.
Ready.
Now, Shadowheart. Again, I'm saving Shadowheart because we have Destructive Wave. So we have a level 5 spell slot for that. We can upcast it to level 6. And this is going to be our boom goes the dynamite for everything here. But for now... Now we're going to move Shadowheart back.
Got to move.
And now Kurz. Kurz has a very special role here to play. So I'm going to move him back.
With haste.
And I'm going to cast Hunger of Hadar all the way out here. Just so it starts, it barely reaches up to the edge there. And I'm going to move it slightly left. They can't traverse the treasure hoard here, but they can make their way around here. So I want to keep them in Hunger of Hadar as long as possible. Okay. Now, you'll see what happens every time you cast a spell. You're afflicted with this spell rot. So every time you cast a spell, you're going to take 2d6 necrotic damage per spell level. So since the Hunger of Hadar is a level 3, I took 6d6 out of that of spell damage. Okay? I rolled really well on that damage, but still, you want to be using other attacks. Cantrips do not cause you to take damage. Okay, and now he's done.
Still breathing, despite everything.
My bard is done as well. I'm just going to move my bard up a little bit.
Need to stay focused.
No holding back.
Actually, Shadowheart, come back here.
I'm ready.
I'm going to bring... her spiritual weapon out here. She's going to take 4d6 damage. And no, I think I'm going to... Boy, it's so useful, though, in this. No, let's not. We'll leave it back.
Time.
Okay, so now for me, again, I want to focus on my cantrips, because cantrips do not cause us to take any damage. So we're going to maneuver around and try and keep these enemies from reaching us by continuously knocking them back into the Hunger of Hadar. I want to move over here a little bit more. Okay, so can't get him. Okay, that's the goal here. To keep knocking them back into the hunger.
Can't afford to let up.
Now with Shadowheart, again, we have cantrips that she can cast that are going to do good damage.
Feel my mistress's wrath.
Okay, that don't record that she's not going to take any damage in return.
No holding back.
Two crits. All crits. Nice, Will.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
And one more. Now I know I have Repelling Blast here as well. Come on, reach him. Nope. Maybe. Cast a blue. Okay. Now what really works well here is spike growth. So that, because that's slowing their movement and causing damage over the movement time. Hunger of Hadar is great as a substitute for it because it clears up all of the claws. It does a little bit of damage to the undead, the greater zombies and the ancient servants, but it's really meant to slow them down. If it causes a little bit of damage also, that's just a bonus for us. But yeah, say knocking them back,
My faith will protect me.
that's the key here. Shadowheart can keep applying her radiating orb blast. So if they do manage to get through, they're going to be stacked up with radiating orb. Reverberation's going to knock them down, cut half their movement off trying to get up. So that's the strategy here.
Blood comes easy these days.
And one more round of knockbacks, hopefully. Okay, now there's something else that I want to note real quick about this encounter. They are vulnerable to fire. Okay, so they take double damage from fire. Casting Fireball, though, is a mistake unless you have necrotic resistance, because again, the spell rot, you're going to take damage in return. So if you cast Fireball and you want to upcast it or something like that, you're going to run into a problem. Because spell rot is going to hit you really, really hard. So I'm saving Destructive Wave as a backup in case this whole thing fails and they all run in here together and I have no other choice but to do it to save me from a party wipe. That's what Destructive Wave is for. But I would never intentionally use it for anything else.
I won't give in.
Because it's probably going to kill Shadowheart when it goes off. Okay, now cantrips and that sort of stuff. I'm at disadvantage on the attack roll for it because they're in the darkness. So that's why I tend not to use it when I have a big hitter with Sacred Flame that's almost guaranteed to hit.
Forever dauntless.
What did I just do? How did that do a ranged attack when I clicked on Eldritch Blast? I have no idea. Oh, it must not have clicked on it, and I clicked on their body instead. That was a mistake. Let's see if I can move a bit here and get all three of them. And get that one, and that one. See, this is the goal here. Create a choke point and don't let them through it. If you let them through it, then have a fallback plan, something that's going to be able to save you. Because they can hit really hard.
Battle favors the fearless.
And we'll get that kill.
Time to push my luck again.
Okay, so we'll move to the right just a tad. But yeah, if you watch the Paladin live stream, watch the damage that spike growth does. It's really impressive. There you go.
No one's stopped me yet.
And that's how you play it.
Let's move.
Okay, as long as you're down here, you're going to have spell rot, so don't cast additional spells while you're down here. The spell rot will go away once you leave this area. Astarion is unaffected by spell rot because spell rot does not work on the undead. So unless you are undead, each time you cast a spell, you receive 2d6 necrotic damage per spell level. So Astarion can act freely down here, but Astarion isn't casting a whole lot of spells anyway. What you can do with Astarion, though, is use him to cast Fireball from a scroll. And that he will not be affected by that. So casting from scroll still will hurt you down here, just like if you were casting it from your spell book. So what we're going to do next week is we're going to loot the main important things down here in this area. And then we're going to head out and start dealing with the 2 quests that intersect with this area. And we're going to start off by picking up something that's glowing over here and explain what that's about. Okay? So for now, I think that gives us a good spot to end this week's live stream. So we had a lot of good combat here this week, and we're going to get to see more of that next week as we go through a really cool set of quest lines. So, as always, thank you all for being here. I certainly appreciate you guys always showing up to the stream, because without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.